I am the cake, and if you clicked to this video you probably have felt so much disappointment on the latest MMOs. I've watched many videos of people talking about what they think is going to be the next big MMO, and this is going to be my take on it. I think I've talked enough for this to be called an intro. Alright, let's talk about the Ashe of Creation. It's an MMO where the world actually changes based on what players do, which is pretty cool. You start by picking from 8 different classes, which I think is a good amount, not too many, not too little. There is also a bunch of different races, each with their own lore and vibe. The concept of Ashes is that you're going to basically build the world from the ground up. Everything players do affects how the world works, which is a really cool idea in theory, but it's a lot harder to pull off. The game has been in development for 7 years, and they haven't got that far at all. If I remember correctly, please tell me if I'm wrong, the person who started the development of Ashes didn't have any prior experience of making games, but either way I would be very shocked if this game comes out before 2030. They have alpha testing right now. I haven't played it because it's really expensive and I'm too broke. I think the concept is interesting and the gameplay that I've seen looks cool. Chrono Odyssey, if you've seen the trailer you already know it looks insane. But beyond the flashy visuals, what's actually going on? So Chrono Odyssey is an open world MMORPG set in this massive fantasy world called Sotera. And from what they are saying, this isn't just a generic MMO. The big focus here is the time manipulations. It's a core mechanic of the game, whatever that means. Rewinding, stopping or altering the fights in some way. We don't fully know yet, but it is a huge part of the combat and world building. Speaking of combat, they're aiming for an action-based system, dodging, parrying, switching weapons mid-fight. None of that stand still and press button combat. It looks really smooth, but we'll see how it actually plays. The world itself is massive and dynamic. Sotera isn't just a pretty backdrop, it has different factions, evolving environment, and supposedly battles that feel epic, instead of just your another daily quest grind. The game also promises massive PvE fights, world bosses, and what they call grand scale battles. And yeah, let's be real, the visuals are ridiculous. Unreal Engine 5 is putting in the work here. The lighting, the environment, even just the animation, everything look polished. But as we all know, graphics don't make a game, it's gotta play well too. Right now the release date is set in Q4 of 2025 and it is in development for PC and consoles. We'll have to see how it comes together, but if they actually pull this off, Chrono Odyssey could be something special. Dune Awakening is an open world survival MMORPG set on Arrakis. Yep, the giant desert planet with sandworms. And the idea here is pretty simple but really cool. Survive, adapt, and build your place in a harsh, unforgiving world. You're not just wandering around and collecting loot. You're managing water, resources, crafting gear, and not trying to be swallowed by the desert or an actual sandworm. The world is supposed to be massive and not static. Sandstorms literally shape the terrain, burying others and revealing new areas. So exploration won't always feel the same. There's also PvP, trade, politics and all that chaos you would expect on a planet where everyone's trying to control the most valuable resources in the universe. They are also promising large-scale battles and the freedom to build your own shelter or stronghold. And yeah, there is combat, range and melee, but it's not just running and gunning. You will need to think about positioning, gear and survival tactics. Visually, it looks great. Very much staying true to the style of the Dune universe, but with that MMO freedom. Wherever they can deliver on all these systems smoothly, we'll see. But the foundation sounds really solid. Right now the release date is set on May 20, 2025. It's not really my type of game. I don't really like that futuristic stuff, but I know many people that are going to like this game. ArcheAge Chronicles. If you've played ArcheAge before, you probably feel right at home, but this time it's designed to be more approachable. It's set in the same world as the original game, but they are calling it a new chapter of ArcheAge universe. Basically, you still get all the big open world adventure, but without feeling overwhelmed. At least that's their goal. You've got fast-paced action-focused combat, not the old school slow grind. PvE is still a big deal. There are dungeons, world events and all that good stuff. And if you're into PvP, you can jump into fights over territory control and resources. Character customization a big part of it. Skills, abilities, gear and choosing your faction. And of course, forming allies and going to war over land. They are going to have boats, gliders and carts to take you anywhere in the world. The trailer looks extremely good, both the combat and the graphics looks amazing. There is no exact release date, but it is expected in 2025. Alright, you know how Warframe is all about space ninjas flipping around at breakneck speed? Well, Digital Extremes decided to slow things down, literally, with their next game, SoulFrame. Instead of futuristic chaos, this one is set in a fantasy world that's all about nature, magic, and as they describe it, restoration. Which I'm guessing is a fancy way of saying the world is kind of a mess, and you're gonna help fix it. With a sword. They're calling SoulFrame an action hybrid MMORPG. Basically, it's an open world game. You team up with other players, explore ruins, fight big weird creatures, and uncover lore. If you feel like the idea of wandering through mysterious forests and ancient temples, but with actual danger around every corner, this might be your ally. Combat looks way more deliberate compared to Warmill, less pew pew lasers and more heavy swings, dodges and magical abilities. And I gotta say, the art direction, absolutely stunning. Giant creatures, overgrown ruins, surreal landscape. Now don't expect this to drop tomorrow, they're still early in development, there's no exact release date yet. Light No Fire is a vibrant open world survival game. It's a bit unclear if it's going to be an MMO or not, but I decided to add it to the list anyways. Because they did say it's going to be multiplayer. And this is probably my most anticipated game. We have only seen one trailer and it got released over 1 year ago. But in the trailer we see tons of different mounts, races and biomes. My biggest concern is that we only saw a few brief seconds of combat. Light of Fire is being developed by Hello Games, the same team that did No Man's Sky. And I never liked the combat in No Man's Sky. It was functional but never particularly good. But all in all, this game looks amazing. And I'm very hyped about it. Last is the League of Legends MMO, which is developed by Riot Games. We don't know anything about this game. I just wanted to bring it up because I know many people are hyped about it. Release date in 2040. Yeah, that's pretty much it.